What is dopamine? Dopamine is a chemical in human brains responsible for the feeling of pleasure. The rewarding feeling of dopamine is the reasons humans eat and reproduce. Generally, dopamine is the incentive for everything we do in life. If we think back to caveman times, dopamine would be extremely important for keeping the human race alive. But as you probably know, the world has changed a bit since then. Dopamine is easier to get than ever. Fast food restaurants on every street, video games where you can do more amazing things than you could ever accomplish in real life, vapes giving you a constant buzz, porn sites that give the average 15-year-old more access to naked women than any historical king or emperor ever had, drugs where you can smoke, swallow or inject instant dopamine into your body, social media apps that take over people's lives with new entertainment on every swipe. These days, almost everyone is addicted to something. Well, you might be asking, what's the problem with all this? How does this all affect us? Our brains today are constantly being overstimulated with all sorts of things to the point where it has actually changed our brain. The average Gen Z human has an attention span of 2.7 minutes, which is significantly shorter than previous generations. Mental health disorders such as depression and anxiety are on the rise, and in general people find it a lot harder to sit and live in the moment. Normal day activities are becoming boring in comparison to the high stimulant, instant gratification activities. And you might be thinking, if all these things are fun, then what's the problem with them? Well, the risks of some instant gratification activities are obvious, but with others it's a lot less obvious. Take video games for example. Video games are beautiful pieces of art. They are extremely fun, but they can also be very harmful. Now I might sound like an old American white woman on the news when I say this, but video games are a way of escaping for some people, especially for young boys and men. They give you this feeling of progression and a feeling of accomplishment, feelings that fill you with dopamine. Feelings keep you satisfied with your life, when maybe in reality you shouldn't be. Video game addiction is on the rise, and so is male loneliness. And it's really not surprising why so many people are addicted to games. They get you from such a young age. When I was 10 years old, I really wanted to learn to play the guitar, and I actually got a guitar, but I barely touched it. Video games just offered so much more stimulation to my little brain. With the guitar it was hard to learn. I had to learn chords and my fingers hurt when I played it, but with games it was just easy, instant fun. And a lot of the time, as we get older when we are playing video games, we're not really having 10 out of 10 fun, but it's just enough dopamine to keep you slightly entertained. Deep down, everyone has some sort of dream, but all these distractions leaves a lot of people feeling directionless and living life with no passion. Drugs keep people happy with doing nothing. Porn sites weaken men by tricking them into the illusion of intimacy, keeping them satisfied with pixels on a screen. Social media keeps people satisfied with online relationships instead of seeking out real relationships. The truth is, this is what the high-up corporation owners want. They want everyone to be addicted, directionless zombies. They don't want people to wake up and go to the gym. They want people to lay on their side, scrolling for 2 hours before they leave bed. The more fat, lazy and addicted we are, the more money they get. They don't want out-of-the-box thinkers, they want people they can control. Now, do you want to be controlled, or do you want to get into dopamine detoxing and escape the matrix? Dopamine detoxing is the most important self-improvement strategy there is. Dopamine detoxing or dopamine fasting is the idea that if you cut down on all dopamine stimulated activities for an extended period of time, you'll be able to reset your brain and let go of addictive behaviors that negatively impact our lives. It's commonly misunderstood as reducing dopamine, but that's not actually the case. Instead, it focuses a lot more on reducing the impulsive behaviors. So how do you do it? To start a dopamine fast or detox, you need to write down some rules. These rules can vary from person to person, but they should generally consist of significantly reducing or removing social media, video games, Netflix, YouTube, drugs, alcohol, porn, etc. from your life. You should also write down a plan for your ideal day. So this could be whatever productive or important things you want to do. Then here comes the hard part. You have to go about your day without any of these instant gratification activities. This will be extremely boring and definitely not easy. You might find yourself staring at a wall or staring into space a lot. For the first few days, you might really have no idea what to do other than the tasks you have written down. But eventually, you will find things to do, and there will be healthy sources of dopamine. You might find yourself trying new things that you never would have tried before. For people who don't have a passion or direction in life, this is why dopamine can be so important and give you the time and space to explore things that you would have never tried with all these harmful distractions. A lot of people have business ideas or hobbies that they want to try, but they are so occupied with their phones and TikTok and YouTube. It sits in the back of their mind all day, and it just never happens. Without these distractions, you have more time to think and focus about your real goals, the things that generally matter. Your brain will actually start to change as well. Spending your whole day indulging in instant gratification actually reduces the amount of dopamine receptors in your brain, meaning it takes more stimuli to feel the same pleasure. Dopamine fasting can actually help increase the amount of receptors in your brain, meaning it takes less to feel the same amount of pleasure. This means you will start to find pleasure in the little things in life. Things that would previously seem boring become more interesting, and this really gives you a restored sense of motivation